Hello and welcome back. Before we get into this important video, I just want to say that I've actually started using my Instagram again more recently, as I think it's a good tool to use so I can communicate with you guys outside of YouTube comments. On my Instagram, I will be posting what videos are to come in my stories, and I use it really for random photos, but it would be great to communicate with you guys. I also have a TikTok where I just post clips of previous videos I've done and previous cases. All the links to this, if you are interested, will be in the description. But let's get into this video. Today we are looking at those who vanished from the Northwest. As usual, some of these cases have little to no information, unfortunately, but I think it's still important that we still cover them. As always, if you have any information, the contact details are in the description. But let's get into the cases. Case 1 is a disappearance of Charlene Downes. This is one of the more famous cases. She disappeared on the 1st of November 2003 when she was 14 years old from her hometown of Blackpool. She lived at home with her mum and dad, Karen and Robert, as well as her brother and two sisters. The family had moved to Blackpool from the West Midlands in 1999. Charlene attended St George's School in Blackpool. She was described as well and happy, but she did experience a chaotic lifestyle, with social services being in and around her family. She was expelled from school, so she would hang around Blackpool's Central Promenade. After her disappearance, there was an internal police report. It stated that Charlene was one of 60 girls in Blackpool, some as young as 11, who had been groomed by ethnic Pakistani men to carry out acts. The girls would be given food and cigarettes by the male employees of fast food outlets in exchange for these services. On the day she disappeared on the 1st of November 2003, Charlene's mother, Karen, last spoke to her in the early evening in the Blackpool town centre. Karen was in Church Street handing out flyers for an Indian restaurant when she saw Charlene and one of her other daughters, Rebecca, at around 6:45 p.m. The three of them talked very briefly. Rebecca said she was going home and Charlene said she was going to meet some female friends. She called them from a local telephone box, then waited with her mother until they arrived. Karen watched the girls walk off together towards the Winter Gardens. This was the last time she saw her daughter. The friends spent a little time together, and then Charlene met another friend at around 9:30 p.m. and visited the Carousel Bar on the North Pier. There is CCTV footage of a girl at 9 p.m. According to Charlene's friend, she and Charlene left the Carousel Bar and returned to the town centre at around 10 p.m. Her friend last saw her at around 11 p.m. The police decided to treat Charlene's disappearance as a murder, and because of this, there were several arrests. Two men stood trial in May 2007. The prosecution said at the Preston Crown Court that Charlene had been murdered by Ayad, who was a 29-year-old man from Jordan and the owner of Funny Boys fast food outlet in Blackpool. Mohammed Raveshi, who was the business partner of Ayad, was accused of disposing her. According to the prosecution, Ayad had asked Charlene. The prosecution stated that the men had discussed getting rid of her by putting it in kebabs sold from their fast food outlet. The jury failed to reach a verdict. A retrial was ordered and scheduled for April 2008, but there were many errors in the police's surveillance. Because of the errors made by the police, the two men were released and never went on retrial. In 2011, Ayad was convicted of assault after headbutting an 18-year-old woman. It came to light after Charlene's disappearance that there was a grooming situation happening in Blackpool. In a police report, the employees of 11 takeaway shops in the town centre had been grooming dozens of white girls aged between 13 and 15, giving them food and alcohol for relationships. A former detective said that the police inquiry into child grooming in Blackpool, Blackburn and Burnley had been hampered by political correctness. This being because the girls were white and the perpetrators were non-white. The disappearance of Charlene obviously really affected the family. In March 2009, Charlene's sister Emma pleaded not guilty to racially aggravated assault against the brother of Ayad, who had been charged with murdering Charlene. She maintained that her assault on the man's brother hadn't been racially motivated. On the first day of her trial, the prosecution accepted her plea to common assault, a less serious offence. She was sentenced to community service. And in 2012, Charlene's younger brother admitted in court to punching the man who had faced the charge of helping hide her. He was given a fine and a suspended sentence. On the 1st of August 2017, police arrested a 51-year-old man from Preston who lived in Blackpool at the time of Charlene's disappearance on suspicion of murder. He was released 2 days later and is no longer under investigation. Charlene's mother has said, "It would mean everything to get answers as we live in limbo, especially if it helped get justice for Charlene and all the other girls affected by grooming gangs." There is a £100,000 reward on offer for information leading to a conviction in her case. Lancashire Police said inquiries into Charlene's disappearance were ongoing and urged anyone with information, however insignificant, to get in touch. A push to the government for an inquiry is ongoing this year with protests and has been since she disappeared. 2. Marcus Rigby. Marcus Rigby was 27 years old when he went missing from his hometown of Grange-over-Sands on the 17th of April 1995. Mark left his hometown after meeting with his mother and telling her he was heading towards the West Country. Mark hitchhiked towards London and contacted his aunt late one evening from the services at South Mimms. He stayed with them before being dropped off at a Tesco's, where he said he was hitchhiking to Weymouth. It's believed Mark stayed in a street named Artists Row, verified by a cheque made out of a B&B in his handwriting. The cheque was refused by the bank and it was sent back to his mother's home, as Marcus was still registered as living there. Marcus was described as 5'11" tall, of slim build with hazel eyes and brown hair. His family want to remain respectful and said if he chooses that he wants to stay away and not contact us, they completely understand. However, they want to hear from him just to know that he is okay. His older sister, Nicola Earnshaw, said he told her he would be in touch after moving to Dawsett, but she never saw or heard from him again. The last possible sighting of him was 6 months after he disappeared at a bed and breakfast in Portland near Weymouth. Case 3. Nicholas Palmer. He was 36 years old when he disappeared from his home in Runcorn on the 23rd of February 2003. He had often talked of starting a new life outside the town, and his parents thought he might have gone abroad, but police know that he doesn't have his passport, so it's unlikely he had left the country. His parents nor his former wife and 2 children have heard from him since he went missing. The police haven't been able to trace him, and they have grown increasingly concerned about his whereabouts and welfare. He is known to have connections with Newton Lee Willows and Surrey. While police believe he may have left home on his own accord, they say the lack of contact is very worrying. He is 6 foot tall and of medium build, with cropped fair hair that is balding on the top. He has a number of tattoos on his chest and back, including a scorpion on his shoulder blade. 4. Ray Shearwood, who was 36 years old and from Bootle. He was last seen on the 19th of August 2007 in the Maghall pub car park and then disappeared. He is a dad of 3 and had spent the morning of the 19th of August with his 8-year-old daughter before dropping her off at her mum's house and heading to the watering hole at around 4:45 p.m. He was seen parking his green Ford Mondeo in the car park of the Old Park on Northway and is believed to have exited his vehicle and walked towards a parked VW Golf Sports Edition. This was the last confirmed sighting of him. A police investigation into the mysterious disappearance failed to give any solid leads, and the trail went cold. It's to believe that he was murdered shortly after he vanished. The former boxer was known to have links to Liverpool's criminal underworld, and rumours swirled he had been killed over an outstanding debt by a gang who are notorious and involved in an international substance crime. He had been jailed in May 2005 after police raided one of his 6 homes in Sefton. He owned and found around £60,000 in a safe. He told detectives he was a boxer and had received the money from prize fighting. The court heard that between February 2002 and February 2003, he was said to have earned around £250,000, which he used to buy 6 properties, including a tanning salon and a cafe. He pleaded guilty to 2 charges of conspiracy to supply substances, money laundering and tax evasion, and was jailed for 5 years. He served 1 year and 4 months of his sentence, being released in November 2006. He disappeared 9 months later and has not been seen or heard from since. His mobile phone, which he has always had on him, has not made a single call or sent a text. 5. Kevin Fasting. Kevin Fasting was 49 years old when he went missing from his home. He was last seen by his parents at their home on the 21st of November 2003. Just a week before, Kevin had started a new job in Bootle. On the morning of his disappearance, Kevin, a dad of 4 and an avid Liverpool fan, left the house to go to work. Shortly after, he was seen by his neighbour at a bus stop. The neighbour offered Kevin a lift to work, but he declined. This was the last sighting of Kevin, as he did not arrive for work and hasn't been seen since. Kevin Jr., his son, found a note addressed to him and his sisters apologising that he let them down. He was last seen wearing black trouser suit, a white long sleeve shirt with a yellow tie, a grey fleece jacket, a dark green hooded trench coat and a size 8 Clark's blue lace-up shoes. Kevin also wore a distinctive Liverpool Football Club watch with a silver strap and was carrying around £30 cash. A plaque dedicated to Kevin remains at Anfield Stadium grounds. Next is the disappearance of Paul Fahy. He actually made headlines as a cheeky scouser who cycled up to Princess Diana on her visit to Liverpool and stole a kiss from her. He had a history of mental health problems and had not been taking his medication for his bipolar disorder when he vanished because he and his girlfriend were trying for a baby. The father of 2 from a previous relationship realised that something was very wrong and that he needed help. Paul went to the Royal Hospital to see an emergency psychiatrist, but he waited 2 or 3 hours and never saw anyone. He left the hospital. He was picked up on CCTV leaving it. That was the last time anyone had ever seen Paul. He was 33 years old when he was last seen in February 2002, 5'7" with blue eyes, blonde hair and a Liverpool Football Club tattoo on his lower left arm. He had worked as a bricklayer and joiner. 7. James Dowsett was 65 years old when he disappeared from Preston Care Home in Crystal Hall on the 18th of June 2005. The retired nurse and manager, who suffered from dementia, has 6 children and 8 grandchildren. Police used dogs and a helicopter as they joined the mountain rescue team to try and look for him. He has never been found. He is 5'10", slim and walks with a slight hunch. Next is Adrian Eldred, who disappeared from his home in Queen's Drive in May 2003, 6 months after separating from his 41-year-old wife Tracy. His car was found in Weymouth, Dawsett, a month later, which prompted a search that extended into Europe, but police were unable to trace his whereabouts. There were several unconfirmed sightings of the 37-year-old in Rochdale. It's believed he was spotted on the 22nd of November and twice more by his ex-wife, who says she saw him driving a white Ford Escort. He has never been found. He is 5'8", slim with mousy blonde hair. The next to disappear is little girl Elizabeth Ogungbayibi. She was just 5 years old when she disappeared in Bradford on a visit to a relative's home in September 2006. In all the years that have passed, police have not been able to trace her, and the exact circumstances of her disappearance aren't very well known. Police haven't given any more information. There has been no movement in her case and no leads. Lindsay Claro was 37 years old when he went missing from his home in Stillington in Taaffe on the 6th of June 2013. He was last seen by a neighbour in the road and has not been in contact since. He is described as 5'10" of medium build with a tanned complexion and short dark receding hair. There has been no movement in his case. Mark Coulthard has not been seen since leaving his home to visit friends in Blackpool on the 28th of September 2006. Police have said that he was known to frequent an area of Blackpool known as The Scene. A police force spokesman said, "There is a suggestion that he may not be using his real name and that he may be going under the name Ricky. Extensive inquiries have been carried out in Blackpool and officers believe he may have travelled on to Preston or Manchester." There has been no movements in the case and he has never been seen or heard from since. 12. Ciaron Nuttall was just 18 years old when he went missing from his home in Greater Manchester on the 3rd of March 2011. He had joined the army at 16, but after meeting his girlfriend Stephanie, he ended up leaving the army shortly after to move in with her and her mother in Manchester. They split up after cheating claims and he moved back into his family home. On the day he went missing, he returned to the house before heading to his mother's room to ask for some money. His mother, Anne-Marie, didn't have any money on her, and this ended in them arguing, which Tommy, his brother, states was not unusual or very serious. The argument ended when Ciaron ran down the stairs and slammed the door behind him. He was apparently going to meet a friend, but there is no confirmation of whether this was planned or happened. When he didn't return, his mother reported him missing 5 days after he left the house. Since he left, it was discovered his bank account's phone and social media had not been used. Despite no further leads, it's assumed that he was alive and avoiding detection. The family appealed so much themselves for more information, as the police literally didn't help. He used to visit his grandparents a lot. When his grandmother passed away, his family had hoped that he would return home. However, that wasn't the case. Anne-Marie, his mother, and his brother Tommy continued to appeal and ask for help for locating their brother. But unfortunately, Anne-Marie passed away from high levels of prescription medication in her body shortly before the 5-year anniversary of his disappearance. Tommy still then said he would keep looking for his brother. However, tragically and unfortunately, he passed away himself of pneumonia just 17 months after his mother. He was only in his mid-20s. There has been no movement in the case and the police still don't seem to be helping investigate the disappearance. Brendan Taaffe was last seen at his sister Rachel's home on Larch Road in Birkenhead on the 25th of January 2010. His family issued a plea for him to get in touch, and they launched many appeals. A police spokesman said, following appeals by the Merseyside police and family members for information related to Brendan, officers can confirm a number of sightings. Although there has been no movement in this case and no new answers. He is described as 6'1", of medium build with dark brown hair that is receding and blue eyes. He has a tattoo on his left wrist of a Celtic cross and his right a tribal marking. Ethan Graham was 18 years old. He disappeared after withdrawing a large amount of money from his bank account, which had been left him by his grandmother. He had been living with his uncle in Manchester for a number of years after his mother had passed away. He was last seen after taking a taxi to Piccadilly Station on the 6th of February 2012, but then disappeared. In the days before going missing, he had changed his appearance, including cutting his previously long hair very short. There has been no movement in the case. Stephen Durand was 31 years old when he left Chorley on the 19th of October 2018. There were sightings in Manchester the following day, but all communication and financial activity stopped, leaving his family desperate for answers. Stephen had a history of mental health issues and he was discharged from care 2 weeks before his disappearance due to an error. His mum believes these faults contributed to his disappearance, saying she felt let down by the system that was supposed to protect him. On the 20th of October, CCTV footage captured Stephen at a bargain booze store on Bolton Road in Swinton at 7 a.m. and later at 11 a.m. at a Premier store on Agecroft Road. This was his last confirmed sighting. At the time of his disappearance, Stephen was described as mixed race, 5'10", with a medium to stocky build and cropped dark brown hair. Stephen walks with a limp due to his mild cerebral palsy. Glenn Dawes was last seen at his home address on Ashness Drive on the 22nd of November 2017. He's described as white, 5'8" tall, of stocky build with receding ginger hair. He was last seen wearing a blue walking jacket and walking boots. He was carrying a yellow and black rucksack as well as a walking stick. Police said, "We are urging Glenn to please come forward to speak to us, as we are concerned only for his welfare in order that we may put his family and friends' concerns at ease." He has never been seen again and has never contacted any of his family or friends. Lewis Norton was last seen on Castle Street at 7:50 p.m. on the 12th of September 2017. Officers asked at the time for motorists who may have dashcam footage of him walking on either Wigton Road or Newton Road to come forward. Inquiries did find that he was wearing a jumper with a Superman logo in the middle. He has been described as wearing blue baggy jeans, dark trainers, and was carrying a black jacket. He also had a white JD bag with him. He's white with short dark brown hair. There has been no movement in the case and he simply vanished. Monalisa Zodetsa was 36 years old when she was last seen in Salford on the 18th of March 2015. She is originally from Zimbabwe, is black, about 5'3" tall and slim. She was last seen, she had her hair in braids and was wearing a black furry coat, blue and yellow jeans, beige trainers and an orange rucksack. Monalisa is known to attend African church groups in the Salford area, but hasn't attended since. There has been no new leads in her disappearance. Jack Stewart was 69 years old and he was last seen at his home on Ings Lane in Rochdale at 8 a.m. on the 8th of February 2016. Police say his disappearance is extremely out of character because he liked routine in his life. His family are concerned that he has not been in touch. He would often use local buses to travel to Rochdale Centre. The police said they would urge anyone who has seen Jack to get in touch with police. He's described as white, around 5'9", with brown and grey hair cut into a teddy boy style. He was last seen wearing a black quilted jacket, black jeans, striped socks and a dark coloured check shirt. Julie Melton was 41 years old when she was last seen at lunchtime on the 23rd of July 2004 at her parents' house in Liverpool. Later that evening she telephoned her parents to say she was on her way home, but no one has seen or heard from her since. When she was last seen, she was wearing silver earrings, a black t-shirt and black trousers with a floral design on the right leg. She's described as 5'4", slim build with short brown hair and speaks with a Liverpool accent. Daniel Hives was last seen on the 10th of December 2022 in Lancaster. He was 28 at the time. He was last seen leaving a city property on Sidings Close near the River Lune. It's been confirmed that Daniel was chased out of the flat by two men. These men have been questioned but have no involvement. Daniel is described as 6'2" of slim build with short brown hair. When he was last seen, he was wearing a blue Hugo Boss tracksuit and black trainers. All the river was searched. The police did a massive search of all surrounding areas and knocking doors, but nothing was found. The police stated the two people who chased him have no involvement. The force said it has carried out an extremely thorough investigation to find him and still had dedicated officers assigned to the investigation. This has included an extensive search of the river and surrounding area, as well as exploring all CCTV and dashcam footage and speaking to witnesses. The force said, despite these efforts, we have not been able to locate Daniel. There has been no movement in the case and he has never contacted family or friends again. Leanne Smith was last seen leaving her home on Rydell Avenue at 6 p.m. on the 15th of September 2019. Leanne was 39 years old when she went missing. She was said to be wearing a blue coat and carrying a handbag with black shoulder-length hair and a ponytail. The police investigation into Leanne's disappearance involves searching the area. They searched rivers, rural and urban areas in and around Whitehaven. Specialist trained search officers, police dogs, police drones, a police helicopter, as well as assistance from the Coast Guard. But there has been no movement in her case. Shelley Halliwell was 32 years old when she left her home in the early hours of the morning on Monday the 5th of June 2017. She was last seen near to Wigan railway station. She is white, around 5'2" of medium build with shoulder-length straight blonde hair. It's believed she is wearing black trainers, black leggings and a black waterproof jacket with the word Echo on the front. A police officer said it's totally out of character for Shelley to have left the house without telling her family, and our concerns are growing for her welfare as she hasn't made contact with anyone since she left. Her husband and 3 young children are desperate to find her and bring her home. She has never been found and has made no contact. Shaun Moffatt was 48 years old when he was last seen at his home address in Wigan at around midday on the 8th of April 2017. Officers do not have any description of clothing Shaun was wearing when he left the address. It's thought he could be in Wigan, Greater Manchester, Merseyside or North Wales, and this is literally the only information that we have. Curtis Higgins was last seen by his mother at their home in Denton in Manchester at around 11 a.m. on the 31st of July 2016. Later that day at around 9 p.m, his mother received a text from his phone that said, "I'm not coming home, kiss." He has never been in contact since. Higgins was captured on CCTV footage at 10 p.m. that same day, boarding the Stena Mersey boat in Birkenhead, sailing to Belfast in Northern Ireland. He has family connections in both Longford and Mayo. Officials believe Higgins may have spoken to 2 men whilst travelling, who may have information about his whereabouts. His behaviour has been described as out of character, but his whereabouts remain unknown. Ellen Brown set off from Manchester Piccadilly to catch a boat to Ireland in November 1999, but she never made the boat. Her sister Bertha bid her farewell at the station, but didn't know this would be their final goodbye. Ellen vanished literally without a trace. She only had £20 and no passport when she disappeared. Ellen was originally from Dublin and had been living in Greater Manchester on a council estate. Ellen's sister and son, Peter Coss, even faced the task of identifying someone that turned out wasn't her. Ellen was 51 and had been living with her sister, Bertha. The mum of one had been struggling with depression following her mother's passing, and her family knew she was having a tough time. However, Ellen's disappearance was completely unexpected, prompting concern when she didn't turn up in Dublin. This led to her brother, Thomas, and another brother, James, alerting the authorities. It has been investigated in the UK and in Ireland, but there has been no leads in her case. Her brother Thomas told the Irish Mirror that he had spent months going around the streets of Dublin in a desperate bid to locate his missing sister, but she has never been found. Shane Graham was 26 years old when he disappeared on the 29th of April 2016. He worked as a landscaper for an artificial grass company. He was working at a house on Ansdale Road on the day he disappeared. He was last seen shortly after leaving the property, walking down Eddington Road towards the inner promenade. His last text message sent to his boss was timed at 10:39 a.m. Around £300 rent money had been left in his flat along with his wallet. He has never been seen or heard from since. His heartbroken mum, Tracy, has previously said she can learn to live without ever seeing her precious son again, as long as she knows he is alive and well. Appeals for information have appeared in many newspapers as well as on BBC Crime Watch. In December 2017, the family was targeted by a cruel Texan troll who claimed he had found Shane living on the streets of Manchester. Police searched the area, but he was nowhere to be found. Lancashire police traced the texter, and it emerged that he had concocted the entire thing. There has been no movement in Shane's case. Adrian Wane was 43 years old and homeless when he went missing in Preston since January 2015. He is also known as Addy and was last seen on Lancaster Road North on Tuesday the 20th of January. He's known as a rough sleeper but has not been seen since. Preston police said it has been over a month now since Addy was last seen and we are becoming very concerned for his welfare. He is known within the homeless community and no one from that community has seen him for weeks. I would ask anyone who has seen him to contact us. He is described as white, stocky build with collar-length brown hair and an untidy beard. He usually wears a beanie hat and a dark ski-type coat. He has links to Preston and is a regular visitor to soup kitchens in that area. And that concludes our video today. I'm actually looking to do more of these missing person cases, but in particular areas of the UK. Unfortunately, there will be more videos looking at the Northwest as there are so many missing people across the UK. As I said in my intro, if you have any information, all the contact information is in the description. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.